Okay, we'll keep this quite brief, but one of the questions I often get asked is all glass painting outliner the same? And the quick answer is no, definitely not. There are different types of outliner. We can classify them by colour, by peelability stroke hardness, and by how they retain their shape. Let me show you. On this side we have 3 outliners which all come from bottles. Now generally, not always, but generally, outliner which comes from bottles is peelable. Now I say generally because I have known the odd one where it comes from a bottle but it's not peelable. Equally, here are some tubes, and generally outliner which comes from tubes is not peelable and is hard. And again I say generally because I know this one has come from this tube, but it is not hard and it may be peelable, not 100% sure at the moment. This one is the Patria 160, and now it's peelable at the moment, but that will be hard once baked. This is the Marabou, and that goes nice and hard even without baking. So that's a bit about the peelability. These ones are peelable, come from bottles. Not quite dry yet, but as you can see it is peelable. All of these will be peelable. Right down again. Not too sure about this one at the moment. This has come from a tube. Yeah, that looks as though it's going to be peelable when it's fully dry. Will it stick back down again? Yep, but that's come from a tube and that's peelable. This one isn't peelable and it's quite hard. And this one is peelable at the moment, I think. There we go. But will be hard once baked. So when do you use these different outliners? Generally my day-to-day work I use the peelable ones. Not because I want to peel my work, but because it tends to be a lot cheaper. And I know that sounds bad, but it is a tenth of the price of the tube ones, if that. Now that might seem strange, but once you have painted, the paint holds the outliner onto the glass. So although this was made with peelable outliner, it won't come off and it can be washed down. And I can say the same with other items as well. This clock, for instance, again it was done with peelable outliner, but because it's then been painted with a solvent-based paint which isn't peelable, the outliner has been sealed and won't peel. So you can get away with using peelable outliner a lot of the time, but there are a couple of instances where you won't. One, you shouldn't use it for the oven bake paint. Only use the appropriate outliner. I wouldn't want you to put any other outliner in the oven. So if you're using the bakeable glass paints, use the correct outliner. Another situation where you might want to use it, and I use a lot of this, we'll talk about profile in a second, or shape, but if you're doing anything which isn't going to be painted around, particularly say lettering, if you want to put a date or a name on something, then use one of the hard outliners. Probably the bakeable ones would be best, but if not, use one of the hard outliners like the Marabou, and then it should stay on even though you haven't painted around it. A final word about the shape. Some of them retain their shapes quite nicely. Some of them splay out as they dry, as you can see this one has. And some of them, like the Marabou, do tend to flatten a bit as they dry. Even though it hasn't splayed, it's sort of contracted and flattened a bit. This Patria has held its shape. So different ones hold their shape, some go flat, some splay. Colours, you can get lots of different colour outliner, but be careful. Both these are called gold, and obviously there's a huge difference in how they look. So even though it's gold, silver or whatever, it's not necessarily the same in each brand. Okay, so try and use the appropriate outliner for the job, but if you can, use the peelable. It tends to be a lot cheaper. You get it in bigger bottles, you can move it to a piping bag, well that's what I do, and it does still give you a really good standard of work which can be washed down. So don't worry about that. Final word, I've been using the word outliner. Some people call it cerne relief, some people call it contour paste. I've even heard it called gutter. Whatever you call it, I call it outliner. Okay, I hope we haven't confused you too much in that one. Quite a short video, but not all outliners are equal, so be careful about which one you use when. Happy crafting.